Hey everybody, we're at Tourong Kalikasan at Million Trees in Quezon City at La Mesa Eco Park. And Bambike is here on display. We're going to be talking about sustainable mobility and our partnerships for sustainability education.
So when I saw your name tags, I got really excited because I saw the little bamboo bike on there. So whoever designed those, good job. So as you've seen outside and here now, Bambike just means bamboo bike. So a straightforward name, but we say revolution cycles, and these have double meanings. So revolution is the motion of the wheel. It's doing revolutions and rotating. But revolution is also a way of thinking of how to do business differently. How can we use business for positive change? And cycles, we're talking about, of course, bicycles, but also, well, sometimes also tricycles. We don't really make unicycles though, those are harder to read. But cycles also are taking into consideration natural cycles, like the hydrological cycle, or the way water moves through our planet, or the carbon cycle, how carbon gets used by plants, by humans, or emitted through carbon dioxide. So we wanted to be conscious of how we can use our Bambike business as a force for good and as a vehicle for sustainability. Okay, so this is Fred. Fred was one of our first Bambuilders, so we call our bamboo bike makers Bambuilders. And our goal when we met Fred was in 2009, just to learn how to build bamboo bikes. So we started with two farmers from a Gawad Kalinga village that had never really done too much with bamboo and never built bicycles. So this started way back then. How many years ago is that, if it's 2009 when I built our first bamboo? 15, correct. So we're just about 15 years old now. I can't believe it. I'm sure some of you aren't even 15 years old. So I started a long, long time ago. And yeah, the goal was to see how we can create sustainable livelihood, meaning how can we create jobs for the poor and for other people that don't hurt the environment. So that was our goal. And we have this triple bottom line, we call. Has anyone ever heard of triple bottom line? It's a business term, and people usually say people, planet, profit. But for us, we say people, planet, progress. And so with that, it means investing in communities, because our people that make our bikes and give our tours and that are part of our team are the most important part of our business. Planet, we're talking about sustainable manufacturing, so building products that are good for the planet. So using natural materials like bamboo and abaca and making vehicles that help reduce our carbon footprint, like bicycles. And progress. So progress for us is profitability, because businesses have to be profitable, otherwise they won't be sustainable. So profits are not bad. But if you're doing business and you're profiting off of hurting someone, taking advantage of someone, destroying the planet, then that's bad. So we're thinking about this new green economy or regenerative business. So how can our business actually be a net positive for the planet? So for every bicycle that we sell, we're planting bamboo. So we're constantly trying to have a carbon negative footprint. And also when we're riding bicycles instead of taking cars, we are reducing our carbon footprint. So I'll just go through, I know I've got a lot of slides here, so I won't take too much time on them, but you'll see a lot of different products that we have. So here I explain the people, planet, progress. And here's our original team of Bambuilders in Gawad Kalinga village. So when I graduated college, I started out in the Philippines as a volunteer. So actually, I grew up in the US. I'm half Filipino, half American. Parang itlog ako. Mukhang puti pero pusong Pinoy. Or puti sa labas, Pinoy sa loob. And as a volunteer for GK, I saw some of the problems of the rural poor and wanted to create a solution beyond providing housing. So this is when I came up with this social enterprise idea to build bamboo bikes in their village. And so part of the contributions we have there are, helping with the school teacher and doing bamboo nursery and feeding program for the kids. And in terms of sustainability for our bikes, we are doing our best to be planting bamboo, as I had mentioned. So every year we do a bamboo planting, and I've got a bamboo nursery in our place in Batangas. And then even some of our suppliers, you can see here, they're using machines to process bamboo, but all of the sawdust from the manufacturing process actually gets made into charcoal briquettes. So one of the big problems is deforestation because of uling. People are cutting trees for cooking fuel. In this process, waste equals food for the charcoal briquette. So you're not actually cutting trees, but you're getting a fuel source, and nothing is really thrown out in this case. So we founded the company in 2010. After we built the first bike, I started the company, and we source bamboo from all over the Philippines. None of it is imported. So primarily, here's our village in Tarlac where we make our bikes. But before we would source from Abra, we harvest and plant some bamboo in Tarlac. We have a supplier down in Mindanao for giant bamboo. Our abaca comes from Bicol. And then we operate our Bambike Ecotours in Intramuros. So we do guided bike tours and rentals there. And then we'll be setting up another Bambike Ecotours in Luyahan, Batangas. So, why bamboo? The environmental services that bamboo provides are really amazing. So they sequester lots of carbon dioxide. They grow very fast. So in 3 years, we can have mature bamboo that's structural. So compared to, say, hardwoods, it takes maybe 30 years for you to get it. And then actually, when you cut a tree, it's dead. But when you cut a bamboo, it's just like mowing the grass, because new bamboo shoots come. So you don't actually kill the plant if you harvest sustainably. So there's also water retention. So it holds storm water. It prevents erosion and landslides. So, and it can be used as a food. It can be used to build your bahay kubo, your utensils. It can be used for almost anything, of course, and bicycles. So here's an example of one of our gravel bikes. So this is good for off-road on the left. And then this is a new version of our bolt together. So we're engineering bamboo laminates and creating nice curves and different shapes. The reason for this is so that we can replicate the shape, because one of the challenges with bamboo is every single piece is different. Like humans, right? Everyone's different. So it's hard to manufacture in a way that's consistent. So for us, over the last 15 years, we've been developing new techniques. So you can see this is a double top tube. You don't see that on many bikes. Why did we do that? Well, these are engineered bamboo poles, and they run all the way from the front to the back. And it makes for a much stronger and responsive design. And it's become our new signature, because the bamboo is really good at shock absorbing, so the ride quality is really nice. And in this geometry, it makes it stiff where it's supposed to be, but also nice and flexible where it makes it for a comfortable ride. We've got mountain bikes like this, we call this the Luntian, and then we can make electric bikes as well. So for me, I think electric bikes are kind of the transportation of the future, because they're so practical. You can get where you're going fast. You're not super powies, and you're not emitting carbon, and you can park really easily in the hassle of parking. Here's another e-bike which we made where the battery in electronics are hidden behind the bamboo panels. We also do fat bikes and cargo trailers. And we have the Bambinos outside, so you can teach kids how to bike. And then we use these cargo trailers also for doing beach cleanups. This is in Batangas. And some of our customers are hotels. So this is the Raffles Hotel in Siem Reap. They ordered a custom fleet of bikes from us. And we've done some funky products like this chariot. So you can see it seats 2 people, can fit your luggage in the back, and it can be pulled by either a normal bike or an e-bike. In Intramuros, there's lots of pedicabs. So we made a bamboo pedicab. And I don't like the pedicabs kasi matangkad na ako eh. So medyo masikip sa loob ng normal design eh. So sabi ko, I'm gonna make a different style where I can sit upright, I can look around where it's fresco, and so this is how we designed this one. And then that's my dog Sombra. She's wearing a bamboo bow tie. Because we have lots of offcuts on our manufacturing, but we don't want anything to go to waste. So kahit yung pinakamaliit ng pedaso ng bamboo, we thought, hey, you know what? Let's give it to the women in their houses so that they can carve out and sand down bamboo bow ties, and then it's fashion accessory. We pay them per piece so that they can work while at home. And so it's not just for dogs. I wear them also. We make them for humans. We have some names of famous Bambike owners from around the world who you might recognize, but we don't need to go into them. Here are some bamboo bow ties. You can see we've been very generously given a number of different awards. But this bike is the one I really love the most because it's getting our next generation of bikers on 2 wheels. And this was a Good Design Award winner. This is from a Japanese design organization. And as I mentioned before, we're doing bamboo laminates so that it can be replicable. So here you can see this is many bamboo strips pressed together. And the idea here is this is a bolt together bike. So our traditional manufacturing is using abaca and epoxy, and it's a lot more time consuming and harder to replicate. So we're trying to create a line of bikes that is easier to produce, less expensive, and can be sent all over the world, standardized. So we just got this one ISO certified. It's an international standards organization, so globally recognized as a safe product. So we're trying to bring Bambike global, and the small bike is one of the ways which we're trying to do it. Our other bikes have international mountain bike standards, road bike standards, and a US trademark for the word Bambike. So on Facebook and Instagram, we had to stop copycats. They were using our name. And because as a business, we filed for a trademark, we were able to stop them from using our brand improperly. So as I mentioned, we're exploring this bolt-together design in construction so that we can grow. BMX size is maybe the right size for some of you. And then this concept of using bamboo laminates is something we're taking to the next level with the Bambox. So it's like Legos. You take the smallest strip of bamboo and then you can make it into a 25 millimeter pole. And then you put 4 of those together, you've got a 50 millimeter bamboo pole. Then you put 4 of those together, and then you've got a 100 millimeter bam beam. And we use those to do construction like this instead of using wood, because we don't have very many trees left in the Philippines because of illegal logging. And using bamboo as an alternative for construction is a good solution because it locks up lots of carbon, grows really fast, and is rapidly renewable. And then in 2014, how many years ago was that? 10, perfect, good math. So we started doing guided bamboo bike tours. So I was the tour guide before, but now we have a big team of tour guides that all run the tours every day around Intramuros. This is in our courtyard. Our shop is just there, and we do many tours and rentals every year. And this has been one of the important pivots of our business, because just manufacturing and selling the bikes was a bit hard. So doing the tours now has opened up Bambike to lots and lots of customers from all over the world. So we're on all of the online bookings, and we're working on expanding, so using the Bamb box as kind of a way to have Bambike Ecotours and rentals in other locations. I mentioned, yeah, we're taking the design of this little Bambino and now working on a full-scale Bambike that we want to use the same principles, using the engineered bamboo so that it can be replicable, cheaper, and we can hopefully export to the rest of the world. And then combined with a Bamb box that is solar powered, this can become electric bike tours. So trying to be as sustainable as possible, and they can be customized. So if you have a kid or if you need cargo box, yeah, so the design idea is really just modular and scalable. One size fits most. You can add on racks, so it's customized. Can be used for delivery, bringing your surfboard. So here's some of the prototypes that we've already made. So just go through these so you see. This is something we're going to be building in Batangas, so a solar-powered bike garage. So we can charge our e-bikes, because down in Luyahan, Batangas, we're going to have a tour that goes to a bamboo plantation in the mountains. So you'll ride an e-bike, and then you see where the bamboo comes from, and then you go back, and then we have a bamboo raft that you end up watching the sunset. Okay, so you've seen some of these. This one is Bambulance, just in case anyone gets hurt. And then we're talking about bringing in some new technology, smart handlebars. This is kind of next generation for our e-bikes, so that you can have a screen and do self-guided tours, GPS, and all of that. So we're thinking about how we can be a part of the future of mobility, but baby steps, Bamb baby steps. Okay. So that's it for this one. We also do CSR projects for companies and corporate wellness. But I'm gonna transition now. I've been mentioning Batangas a few times, and one of the exciting things that we have going on with partnerships for sustainability education, since I met teacher Yeti and teacher Rochelle, we clicked on this idea of using education to transform a community, to introduce sustainability practices, and we're working on a marine protected area project, because the place where I live there in Batangas is very under threat by bad tourism. And we're trying to do whatever we can in our power to educate all of the local stakeholders to start doing good tourism. So I'll play for you a very quick video.
The Philippines is located at the tip of the Coral Triangle, an area with more species of fish and coral than any other marine environment on Earth. Coral reefs are some of the most ecologically and economically valuable ecosystems on our planet. The coastal waters of the Philippines contain a wider range of species of corals, reef fishes, seagrasses, and mangroves than anywhere else in the world. Covering less than 0.1% of the world's ocean, they support over 25% of marine biodiversity and provide a wide range of ecosystem services such as coastal protection, fisheries production, sources of medicine, recreational benefits, and tourism revenues. Millions of Filipinos depend on coral reefs and their associated ecosystems for both food and income. This includes small-scale and subsistence fishers and commercial fishers alike. Similarly, the recreational, educational, and aesthetic values of these coastal ecosystems contribute significantly to the country's tourism sector. Damage to these ecosystems beyond restoration would entail significant adverse consequences for all Filipinos. Extreme degradation of these coastal ecosystems is already apparent. Every time an anchor is dropped on a fragile coral, hundreds of years of growth can be destroyed in seconds. Unsustainable tourism practices are killing off the very thing that people come to see. These boats bring eager tourists to the reef every single day, dropping their anchor multiple times directly on the corals. These metal spikes drag across the ocean floor, digging into the corals, breaking off pieces every single time. Walking and trampling on corals is common practice, which has led to extensive damage in these areas. The barrage from these anchors being dropped on the reef is relentless. Day after day, hundreds of boats are causing damage to the very ecosystem that provides them their livelihood. These unsustainable practices must change. Otherwise, there will be nothing left. The food security and socio-economic stability in these coastal communities has already been compromised. There is, however, a more sustainable path forward that can safeguard the reef for future generations to come.
Thank you. So I can show you very quickly with the last couple of minutes that we have the issue there. So these boats are coming in from another barangay into our barangay and are trampling on the reef. So as you see, the coral is here all along the coastal system. And these boats are mostly coming from Bambryan into our barangay in Luyahan. And our plan is to try and establish a marine protected area and put up mooring buoys so that we don't stop them from doing their tourism, because yun ang hanap buhay niya, it's their livelihood. So we cannot just make them stop it, but we have to show them that there's a more sustainable way to do it that's not damaging. So tourism and fishing are their primary livelihood, but you see the effect of the way they're doing it is killing the reef. So they don't maybe fully realize the destruction that's happening, or they don't feel that there's an alternative. And so that's why we're working to help create this marine protected area. Let me see. This is seaweed farming is another alternative that can generate livelihood for the fishermen. So if we create areas where we say, okay, you cannot fish in this fish nursery, but there's going to be alternative livelihood options where you can grow seaweeds, you can also do mussel farming, and we're talking to the local stakeholders, the boatmen, and we're looking to establish these marine sanctuaries or fish sanctuaries where the baby juvenile fish can grow old enough to reproduce so that they have a lot of fish, because right now, unfortunately, many of the fishermen are catching the baby fish before they have a chance to grow. So here are the juvenile coral catfish, and sometimes people just catch all of them and then they never grow up to be adults. And yun, so we've been looking at this tourism and trying to figure out how we can educate the people and provide alternatives and work on solutions. So the mooring buoys would be located in the same areas where they're already doing their tours, but they would just clip onto the ropes instead of dropping their anchors. And then we want to do public murals and art so that we can raise awareness and put up a Bantay Dagat and ecotourism center. So using the experience, we made a life-size butanding in Guimara, so that's 12.5 meters long, Bamb Butanding. This was part of a bike park that we did. Now we're making a 7-meter long pawikan that is going to be a floating raft. So that's being built now. And then our hope is, yes, to have this is the kind of trash that washes up. So a lot of the municipalities dumping trash in the river. It goes out to the sea and then it comes back onto the beach with the storm. You see what happens because of that. So it's a big, big issue. There's lots of problems, but we're working with youth groups on doing beach cleanups, raising awareness. We initiated trash hauling in our municipality. So we're slowly getting there. And unfortunately, the Philippines is the worst country in terms of plastic pollution going into rivers and into our seas. So we're trying to do our best. This is the Luyahan River, where the town is, and then this is where we are. So much of the trash is coming out there and then washing up on the beaches. So they say there's an eco park, but on the other side, they're burning trash and dumping straight into the river. This was in 2021. Now this pile is huge and it's just smoking and on fire. And then they just kind of push it into the river. And then there's poor fishermen fishing right there. It's like, ugh! What makes you want to rip your hair out. But we're trying to be systematic. We want to talk to the DNR, talk to the municipality, try to bring in very persuasive teachers that can educate about sustainability. Yeah. And then working on upcycling and doing these things so that we can show there are alternatives and there's value to trash. So instead of thinking of trash as trash, we have a materials recovery facility. So I'm sure you've heard of those, where you collect the different plastics, you can do upcycling, you can make products, it can be part of livelihood. Yeah, so these are some of the kinds of things that we're working on so that we can protect this environment. I think that's it in terms of my time for now. Thank you so much for your attention.